Hey guys, good to see you again. In this video, we're going to go over how to get set up using Selenium to access Instagram.com. We'll be figuring out how to log in and get all the necessary tools and keys in order to successfully go into Instagram using whatever accounts, and hopefully we can mimic human behavior to do things that we don't really want to do. Awesome, so let's get down to it. Now, the first thing that you really want to do is to set up your own environment. I'll put the instructions down into the description on how to do that, but in general I've already set up my environment. I'll just do a Conda activate, if I can spell right, activate IG runner underscore, do a Conda list, and these are all the packages that you'll need in order to be successful with Selenium. Now, we are going to have an additional file. We're just going to call it the secret.txt file, or just secret. We are going to have a username and a password. For obvious reasons, I'm not going to be putting a username and password here, but I will be using an Instagram account in order to go through the process over here. But you'll just be replacing the username and the password into these fields that we have down here, and we are good to go in terms of the setup piece. I went ahead and typed out the type of packages that we'll be needing for our Python bot. Within Instagram, we have pandas to just read in the secrets file, the random generators in order to sort of like become under the radar, if you want to call it that. We have the user agent, software names, and types of operating systems. Of course, we have our Selenium with our WebDriver, and we have a few of our exceptions. And we have some options, and of course one of the more important ones to try and randomize our movements, we have our sleep function under the time package. I went ahead and created the main function that will run when we initialize our bot. The very first thing that we do is that we read in our secrets file, and we have a username and password where we are going to be passing these two parameters inside of our initialization function, where we're going to be using these username and passwords to try and log into, in this case, Instagram's website service. So the very first thing that we want to do after we configure all of our main functions and our classes and all, we have imported our libraries, we're now going to begin the setup for setting up the Chrome driver. So first thing we want to do is to get the software names, and this is going to be, we're going to be referencing the software name package within the random user agent parameter. So we can do this. We can call the Chrome, and this should be all caps. We're going to be calling the Chrome, and that should be value. After software names, we're going to call the operating system. So let's call this operating systems. Put that into a list. We can call this operating system. This one. Dot. I have a Windows computer, so I'll be using Windows. And if you have a Linux or a Mac, of course, you can be using your corresponding operating system. But in this case, I'll be using the Windows, and I'll be calling the value over there. Now we're gonna get a randomized user ID, which we can go into more in a sec. So we can create a user agent rotator, and what this is going to do is that it's going to create somewhat of like a list that rotates throughout all these different IDs as you are running through your function. So just pretty much going to be somewhat of an anonymous type of a system when you're utilizing Selenium. So we're going to be calling a specific package called the user agent package, which is all the way up here. We'll be calling that, and the parameters, it's going to be the software names. We're going to be calling our initialized variable right here, and we are going to be calling the operating system, operating systems, and we are going to call our variable that we created there. Save that. And then the number of rotations that we are going to initialize this to, well, let's put it for like 100. It's basically like the number of times it's going to rotate throughout the entire cycle and how long the list is. So in this case, it'll be like 100. So you can always put that to 10 if you would like it. The more you have, the more, I guess, choices there are to choose from. So once we do that, we are going to utilize the user agent rotator and create a user agent that we are going to use. Okay, so we'll do this. Basically, user agent rotator. We are going to get the random user agents, which it uses all these parameters, and then it'll get like a randomized value according to the limit size that we have going on. Once we have this, we are now going to initialize our Chrome options, and we set that to options. This is going to initialize the Chrome driver that we are going to reference in the very near future. But in terms of this, our settings for the Chrome options, there are many different types of options. So the main ones I'll be going over are, the first one's going to be like headless. So Chrome options that add arguments, and this is going to be headless. So this is essentially determining whether or not there's going to be a window that pops up and it's going to be running your algorithms on it, or if you do not want to run that, we're going to actually see the pop-up window that pops up, and we're going to see what actually happens in terms of the front end and how the computer is talking to the website to access different buttons or like icons to click through and go on, so forth and so on. So it's pretty nice if you want to visually look at what is happening there. Another one is, let's just copy this, Chrome options that add arguments. Another one is to see if there's a sandbox. You can essentially think of sandbox as like a sort of like a protection tool. If one of your tabs were to crash, it won't crash the entire system. At least that's how I think about it. There's a few security precautions that are related with the sandbox idea, and I'm sure there's documentation that is out there. Also, the get random agent does not need a parameter, so we should be good there. But in any case, we're going to be running without a sandbox. Yeah, I'm just be running it because sometimes there's like a lot of faulty code that's involved when running it, and it'll just like crash sometimes. There is, oh yeah, let me correct that. That's software name. Cool, awesome. So once we do that, let's see if there are Chrome options dots add. Yes. Okay. Next thing we can add after no sandbox. We can enable a GPU or disable a GPU. In this case, we're not going to be using a GPU, so we can specify whether or not this computer could use a GPU. We're not going to be doing any parallel stuff in the near future, so I'm not going to be using a GPU. That's largely related to the realm of like scraping or Selenium stuff. Besides that, we are going to add our user agents that we have conveniently created earlier in this script. Can I spell correctly? Yeah, Chrome options that add arguments. And then I'm going to be using an F string so I can pass in my user agents. That's going to be looking like this. I'm going to be passing in this fella over here. And bam. We have essentially created all of our arguments that we sort of need when we're utilizing a web browser, so we can access this and do whatever we need to do in order to go to the next step. Last step, we need to reference where our Chrome driver currently exists. Conveniently, I know where I put it. I put this in my Windows file, and then I just reference Chrome driver.exe. So wherever you saved your file in terms of your Chrome driver, make sure you take note of that. You can always search it using the start button and then just type in Chrome driver.exe, open the file path, and then you should be good to go in terms of referencing the address with your script and wherever your Chrome driver currently exists. So once we have that out of the way, we are going to now call the web driver. We're just going to be initializing the Chrome WebDriver.Chrome function. We'll be passing in a Chrome options. Chrome options is equal to Chrome options. Chrome options equal Chrome options. And now we are going to add the executable path, which we have here conveniently. Oops, let's put that there. Let's save that. Make a new line here. Bam. All right. And then last but not least, we are going to open up a window. So we're going to do self.driver .get HTTPS. We're going to open up Instagram, Instagram.com. And we should be good to go. I don't think there are any errors that pop up. Yeah, no red stuff yet. So now we should be good to go. So let's open up, let's run the Python interactive mode and the test bot, which is IG_ME. And now once we run this, we should see a window that pops up and has Instagram.com. Let's see. User agent object has no attribute get random object. Yes, I believe, yeah, this should be an agent function right here. Let's try to run that again. Oh, did I save? I did not save it. Let's quit out of there and let's run it again. There we go. And this is the window that pops up. Now I should go to Instagram.com. Now we are good to go on to the next step where we can input our username, password, and then click the login button. Hi guys, I'm glad that you made it to the end of this video. We briefly went over how to sort of set up Selenium so that it can access different types of websites. In this case, it could be Instagram.com. But keep in mind that you can change the URL to any type of address, web address there is out there, and you can access that website and use Selenium at will over on those other websites. So I hope that you can take this tool and apply it to the many things that are out there. There are so many cool stuff, and I hope to see you on the next video where we will go more in depth on how to send keys to username and password within Instagram and go further and further into the web page and really create some really neat tools. So I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.